like a monkey? Oh, look at that monkey. Go. Alright, here's the longer footage of that hickory that I did. And this is from a new location too that I've got here recently. I've not shown on the channel yet. And it's probably my best location that I've got now. I was with a friend and we were working on his vehicle, the U-joints, and they were in there so hard that we ended up taking it to a garage. A friend of his, a guy that he knew, and it was at nighttime, and we ended up working on it for probably 2 or 3 hours with him. Well, with him for probably an hour and a half. But anyways, we got to talking and kind of talking about firewood, and he took me back behind his place there and showed me a place that his neighbor owned, and it's got a lot of logs down. Look to be mainly this is hickory, so I got this hickory from there, which is better than oak hickory is. It's just pretty tough stuff to split though. But I'll show that location soon. So there was hickory, there was oak, and some other species of wood as well. And there's probably a good, I know at least a year's worth there, probably 2 years worth, honestly. It's probably my new best location that I've got, because it's about 5 minutes down the road from home, about the same distance as the tree service wood is. But this wood is a lot easier to get to. I can pull right up to it, and it's easier size to manage. Like you see this size here. Some of it's bigger than this though, which is kind of what I prefer, is a little bit bigger than this. But some of that tree service wood is absolutely huge. When it gets that big, it's hard to handle, especially when you get into oak that's that big, or hardwoods, because they're just so much heavier than softwoods. And I know some softwoods can be pretty heavy too. But you take like a piece of oak or hickory and compare that to like some of your softer woods like pine and stuff, like there's no comparison in the weight, in my opinion anyways, in my experience. Sometimes I don't even like to say my opinion. I'll say in my experience, because it's really not an opinion, it's a fact. You know, in my experience I've found that it's much heavier. So sometimes I'll just like to say in my experience. But this wood right here actually split pretty, it was pretty tough. I'm not sure exactly what kind of hickory this is. I know we've got pignut hickory and shagbark hickory. I'm thinking that, I know this isn't shagbark, so I'm guessing it's probably pignut. And I've split that before I even have a video of it, and it can be pretty tough to split. But it's probably some of the best firewood around here in Kentucky that you can get. Locust actually burns hotter than oak does, but oak burns longer. And now hickory burns hotter and longer than oak, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the BTUs are higher than oak. So it's like a premium firewood, hickory is. So I'm very glad that I got some of that out there. I'll plan to show that location soon though, and kind of do like a walk around, and then probably do some firewood adventures there as well, because it really hasn't even picked up you know, firewood like it does, you know, here in Kentucky yet. The season hasn't really kicked off yet. What you've been seeing me sell is just people that I've contacted and asked them if they needed wood. So that's pretty much the only reason I sold it as early as I did. I started in July this year, which is very early. But I'm excited about getting some more axes too, honestly. I would like to try some of those hand-forged axes. I've seen some online, and get more into chopping. I'm thinking of doing some timber sports stuff just for fun, kind of. I do plan to get me a stand this winter, so that I can do the standing block and some other stuff as well. But I'm definitely going to get me some chainmail before I do that. I've kind of looked into some of the chainmail already. I just don't ever want to get myself with an axe again. An axe is a very dangerous tool, and I've got myself good now. I just don't want it to ever happen again. And chopping is especially standing block, is to me about the most dangerous thing you can do. But I do intend to do it in the future. Plan to get a good racing axe too. So if any of y'all know any good racing axes that you recommend, let me know. Maybe if you've tried more than one and one's better, let me know if you don't mind. But I do plan to do that, and get a lot more footage of chopping as well, because it's one of my favorite things to do, honestly. Like chopping down a tree to me is about as enjoyable really as splitting, and I love hand splitting. So yeah, if you have any recommendations for a good, you know, chopping axe, racing axe really is what I'm wanting, let me know. And I'd really like to get some more advice as far as maybe you all have some as far as chopping goes, like standing block, like the angle of your cuts and stuff like that, because it's just something that's very dangerous. I know that I've had more close calls with that than anything else. And not only that, it just, I've seen guys, you know, I got my leg, but I've seen guys, you know, swinging up on standing block and almost get their head the same way. And that if I got myself in the head the way that I got myself in the leg, I'd be probably very likely be dead. So I don't ever want to do that. I was kind of watching that video where I got myself in the leg. It was a little bitty maple tree. And one thing that I noticed is I hit the tree, but it busted through the side of the tree. And it wasn't a very big tree, which to me, I think they're more dangerous when they're small like that, honestly, when you're chopping. But it busted through the side of the tree, and I noticed I got more of the toe of the bit than I did the heel. I feel like if I would have hit with the heel more and had the toe more, you know, towards the center of the tree, that it probably wouldn't have split out like that. But I noticed that I kind of hit more with the toe of the axe than the heel. And so from now on, I'm going to try to hit with the heel. And from what I understand, the heel actually digs in better anyways. And later on, I do plan to forge a splitting axe. Myself, I'm going to try to, honestly. I just want to do it myself. I've been wanting to for a long time. A splitting axe, and I'll probably try to do some chopping axes too. I just got to get me a better forge, which I plan to have this winter. So I plan to have some videos in my shed this winter of some axe builds and some forging, and then putting those to the test. You know, it's going to be very similar to that Fisker's though, just because there's one I'm going to put a clip in here of another axe. Adler Super Splitter is kind of very similar to the Fisker's, but it's got a wooden handle. And don't get me wrong, I do like wood better. That fiberglass just doesn't bother me. But if I could pick one or the other and have that same head, yeah, I would rather have wood for sure. But it's the head on the Fisker's that really draws me to it. As you can see here, though, this wood can be pretty tough to split. Kind of showing the flick technique there. I've had a lot of comments here lately of people saying stuff like they don't understand the flick. Lots of people, they don't know what it is. I think they just really don't know what it is. Like they think I'm doing something wrong, or the wood splits weird and stuff. I've been getting comments like that. That wood splits really weird, and sharpen your axe and it'll go in better and it won't bounce off to the side like that. And I've kind of explained to some of them, no, that's a technique. It's intentional that it's doing that. It's called the flick technique. And another guy kind of, after I commented that to him, he said, yeah, I watched some of your other videos and now I believe you. But I think it's just a lot of people don't know that technique. So it's a very good technique, and I've heard it called more things than one, you know, more than just the flick. Of course, many of us know it because of Buck and Billy Ray, because how he's made it popular on YouTube. You know, that's who I learned it from, was Buck and Billy Ray. And but I've heard it from other people that know it as well, but they call it by different names. It is a technique that's been around for a long time, but he's for sure you know, shine light on it. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know. And honestly, his technique is a lot of what shaped my axemanship. Really, we split in ways different, but in ways very similar too. And that's why I like when I get comments about tires and stuff like that all the time. I know what works and what doesn't for me, and I know this sort of technique works. And like people will say, chasing the wood, I can do it a whole lot faster, you know, like this than I can with a tire or with a bungee or chopping block, any of that. But everybody has their own right, you know, and their own preferences. Do whatever they want. You know, I'm not trying to say anybody's wrong. I'm just saying, in my experience, this is by far the fastest way to produce a lot of wood in a short amount of time. And this winter I plan to show a lot more of that, Lord willing. And Carter will be with me too. He's wanting for his birthday some chainmail because he wants to swing his axe again. So.
Well, you getting plenty exercise, aren't you?
Huh? Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, trying to.
You ain't got a big wood splitter?
No, I do it by hand.
You like me, I do it by hand.
I've started like that for 6 years.
That's the way I always bust mine.
Yeah, I've usually.
Really, you can bust it quicker with like that.
You can a lot quicker.
Wood splitter, it takes a lot of times you get slow, I think.